Just ahead, it's primary day. Marylanders across the state hit the polls. We have team coverage.
I'm Byron Scott at Northview Elementary School, where voters are turning out to cast their ballots.
Voters cast their ballot for a new school board member. I'm Katara Jones. I'll have all those details coming up on CTV News.
Plus, the Purple Line construction is causing an inconvenience on campus at UMD. And we continue our look into the blueprint for Maryland's future. Those stories and more, CTV News starts now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for May 14th. I'm Mariah Jalad. Thanks for joining us. And today is primary day across Maryland. Voters will be weighing in on a host of local and national races. One of the most watched is a race for a U.S. Senate seat. Byron Scott has our story.
There are 10 candidates running for the U.S. Senate seat, left open by retiring Senator Ben Cardin. Of those 10, it's come down to a race between two. One of those is County Executive Angela Alsobrooks.
And we just want everybody to come out today and exercise their right to vote. And, of course, I want them to vote for me.
The other is Congressman David Trone.
Can you compete? Can you do it better than the other competitor?
In between are the voters who will make that decision. May we ask who you voted for?
In the Senate race?
Yes.
Alsobrooks.
May we ask how you voted?
Trump.
The race to replace retiring Senator Ben Cardin is the costliest political battle ever in Maryland, and this is just the primary.
I think both candidates are doing a good job. The candidate I chose, I think, was better served the community, so I'll vote for that person.
Both candidates are well qualified for the Senate seat they're running for. Both have similar views on many topics, including access to abortion.
Well, to me, the issue is always Trump, Republicans, and the harm that they're doing to this democracy. And I want to make sure that I get the word out to all my people that we need to come out and vote.
I'm voting for the democracy. Democracy is in danger, and it's a threat. So we have to come together to be able to build on it, not lose it.
Still, despite all the campaigning and money spent, the winner will have to do it all over again, likely against Republican Larry Hogan.
In this case, for the Senate, I don't like anything the Republican senators have been doing, so I don't want to do anything to help them. And I think he would just add to that.
Polls close in just a few hours. In Bowie, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And 3 of Prince George's County's representatives in Congress are fighting to keep their seats in the primary. Congressman Jamie Raskin of District 8 has one opponent for the Democratic nomination. Congressman Glenn Ivey in District 4 is facing 3 Democratic opponents, and Congressman Steny Hoyer faces 3 Democratic opponents in District 5.
Yeah, Hoyer. I'm planning to vote for him.
Why are you going to re-elect him?
I don't know. He's done some good things that I like, but I don't know all the good things, and I like him, and so I'm just going to vote for him.
I voted for Steny Hoyer.
Is there any reason why you voted to re-elect him?
I just think he did a pretty good job last time, and I wasn't nothing that glaringly disappointed me, and I think he votes the way we want him to. So, yeah.
Did you choose to re-elect Glenn Ivey?
I sure did. I know him.
Yes.
I've seen him. He always sends us information about what's going on in the community, so I appreciate that. I think he's doing a wonderful job.
Prince George's voters will also decide if they want to shake up the county school board or keep it the same. More than a dozen residents are vying to serve on the board. This is the same body that has been embroiled in controversy amongst its members for years. CTV's Katara Jones is outside a polling location in Upper Marlboro with more.
I'm right outside of First Baptist Church of Glenarden International, which serves as a polling location right here in Prince George's. Now, there are 15 candidates looking to grab a seat on the Prince George's County School Board, but there are only 5 seats available. Those seats are in districts 1, 4, 5, 7, and 8. In District 1, David Murray is looking to hold onto his seat, but he will face 3 other challengers. In District 4, Shayla Adams Stafford is running unopposed. In District 5, incumbent Zempora Miller will face 3 other challengers. In District 7, Kenneth Harris is looking to hold on to his seat, but he will also face 2 other challengers. In District 8, Madeline Frazier is looking to also remain on the county school board. You may recall she was appointed to the District 8 seat by County Executive Angela Alsobrooks back in 2022 when it became vacant. She will face 2 other challengers. Now, we spoke to many voters and they say education is a big concern.
The concern I have about the schools is that I saw where one of the candidates, who I'm not going to call the name, has cut the school budget dramatically. My daughter's a school teacher, and when she first started as a school teacher, I was giving her money to pay for her classroom stuff, and she was taking money out of her own pocket. So I don't agree with cutting the school's budget. That's my only issue.
Especially in the public school system, it needs to be improved greatly. Infrastructure, modernization, and stuff like that. A lot of these schools are really run down.
Polls close here and across the state at 8 p.m. Katera Jones, CTV News.
CTV's Sierra Jackson was also in the field and spoke with the Deputy Administrator for the Prince George's County Board of Elections. Sierra, what did they tell you?
Thank you, Mariah. Yes, I'm joined by Deputy Administrator of the Board of Elections, Dr. Hutchison. Dr. Hutchison, can you tell us exactly what numbers you're expecting for today's turnout and how many people have submitted a mail-in ballot?
Okay, so as it relates to mail-in ballots, we received over 17,000 mail-in ballots when we calculated during our early canvassing. At this time, I don't have the updated number as of right this moment for today, but again, we canvassed over 17,000 votes during our early voting, which took place April 24th through the 26th. As it relates to turnout, you don't ever really know, but we do expect a good turnout, and we want to invite everyone who is registered to vote to come on down and cast your vote. If you're not registered to vote, you still can register to vote today.
Okay, and what do they need to bring with them if they decided just last minute, just today, they decided to vote? What do they need to bring?
So they would need to bring a ID with them, maybe their driver's license, and that would allow them to become registered and then actually be able to cast their vote today.
And even though early voting is over, they can still submit mail-in ballots today, right?
Yes, mail-in ballots would need to be postmarked by today. Okay, so any mail-in ballots, as long as you get them in the mail today, you could also drop in your ballot in one of our drop boxes, and that is also one way that you can make sure that your ballot arrives on time.
Okay, and when can we expect to see some of those final numbers, the for sure final count?
So the for sure final count, we start canvassing on May 16th, and that canvassing process goes through May 24th. Votes are certified on May 24th, so that's when you receive the actual official count as to what the election results are.
All right, thank you so much. All right, you guys just heard it here. You guys will have until 8 p.m. today to come in and cast in your vote. As long as you're in line, your vote counts. Thank you. Back to you.
And make sure you tune into CTV News tonight at 9:30 for our live primary election coverage. And in other news, the state's attorney's office charges 77 parents of truant students for violating the state compulsory attendance law. At Bladensburg High School, half of the students miss 10% of school days. 40% of students miss more than that, being absent 20% of the time. A new pilot program launched by the state's attorney is hoping to crack down on truancy by sending the students' parents to court.
The goal, of course, is to ensure compliance, not to put parents in jail, not to have lengthy records or anything like that. If their child complies, then guess what? Those charges go away, the case goes away, and there's no record of it. We don't want parents to end up with records, but we don't want their kids to end up with records either. And what we're seeing is a relationship between truancy and crime.
And parents whose children do not comply could face a fine or up to 3 days in jail. And Bowie police need your help identifying a suspect in connection with an armed carjacking. The incident took place in the 16,700 block of Governor Bridge Road on April 18th. He's believed to be driving this white Acura TL. And anyone with information on the identity of the suspect should call Bowie Police at 240-544-5737. And a Prince George's County police officer, Corporal Robert Harvin III, has been suspended following his arrest early this morning while off duty. Harvin faces charges of second-degree assault related to a domestic incident in the city of Laurel. Harvin, who joined the department in 2016 and is currently assigned to the Bureau of Patrol, has been suspended with pay. And you're watching CTV News. Still to come, the construction for the new Purple Line on the University of Maryland's campus has become a nuisance for some students. We'll have that story for you after the break.
I feel like Lime stole a part of Pippa's childhood. I will never take Pippa's laughter or her ability to walk for granted again.
Well, having Lyme's is hard, but you will get through it. Remember, at the end of the tunnel, you'll be able to play with your friends, you'll be able to just be a kid again. As long as you just don't give up on hope, just know that there are other kids fighting with you.
With a proper diagnosis, there is hope. Visit projectlime.org to learn more.
Welcome back. A successful explosion Monday sends chunks of the Key Bridge that have been sitting on the Dolly cargo ship into the Patapsco River. Cleanup crews deployed the explosive cutting devices to speed up the bridge collapse cleanup process and make it easier for crews to remove the remaining pieces of steel. The Coast Guard captain called the detonation a major milestone in the recovery effort. Crews will now use a crane to remove debris from the Dolly, and in the next 2 days, the ship is expected to be moved by tugboats to the Port of Baltimore's Seagirt Marine Terminal. And the state's largest volunteer fire department gets burned by scammers. The Rockville Fire Department had allocated $220,000 for 2 new ambulances. They selected a vendor, signed the contract, and put down a deposit of $220,000. What they didn't know is that online scammers were impersonating a vendor and siphoned off all the cash. The FBI, Secret Service, and local police are part of the investigation. So far, the fire department's bank has been able to recoup half of the stolen money, and a fund has been created to help the department recover the rest of the money. And construction from the Purple Line causes some headaches for University of Maryland students. According to the Diamondback, most of the light rail, which will run through the campus, is expected to be completed by the fall of 2024. Unfortunately, students won't be able to ride the train until December of 2027. CTV News was near Knight Hall Monday afternoon, where crews were busy working on the light rail.
It's definitely frustrating, especially when you're trying to get somewhere on time, because a lot of times the path that you'd normally take is cut off by construction. It's not the biggest inconvenience. It kind of makes the campus a little ugly. I feel like it would be really pretty if there wasn't all this construction.
Hard starting out when you just start here, just because I had no idea how to get to anything. Because anytime I try to go to some place, there'd be a detour, and I would end up walking around.
Definitely is interesting having construction everywhere, and then it also can be really noisy. I live right by McKeldin, and so there's always sounds and noise going on in all the construction early in the morning.
And once completed, the Purple Line will connect Bethesda to New Carrollton. And a gambler at MGM National Harbor hit it big at the poker table, winning a nearly $1.3 million jackpot on May 5th. The payout came from a progressive jackpot while playing Ultimate Texas Hold'em. The winning hand was a royal flush of diamonds. In a 7-card poker game like Texas Hold'em, a royal flush occurs roughly once out of every 31,000 hands dealt. And the winner has remained anonymous, but MGM said they are a Virginia resident. The largest jackpot at MGM National Harbor occurred in March 2022 when a player named John C. won $3 million playing face-up Pai Gow poker. And meantime, advocates seeking revenue for problem gambling will have to put their cause on pause. Just last year, sports betting contributed $623 million to Maryland's public education plans. But an effort to divert 1% of the revenue to help fight problem gambling has met a lack of consensus in the legislature. Both the state Senate and House of Delegates voted during this year's 90-day session to distribute a percent of sports betting revenue to problem gambling resources, but a last-minute disagreement derailed the bill in the session's final hours. And still to come on CTV News, our exclusive look into the blueprint for Maryland's future. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
A biosimilar is a type of biologic medication.
Just like brand name drugs have generic versions, original biologics can have biosimilars.
And as with generics, biosimilars can be made by multiple companies.
To be approved by the FDA, studies must show that the biosimilar is not expected to have any new or worsening side effects as compared to the original biologic.
The result is more medication options
at potentially more competitive prices.
This week, we're breaking down Maryland's ambitious plan to reform education across the state. The blueprint for Maryland's future consists of 5 pillars addressing different parts of the education system. Pillar 2 focuses on the state's teachers. The law hopes to elevate and draw more people to the teaching profession, but some teachers around the county are skeptical about what the blueprint will do to help them now.
I believe that it's going to take some time for teachers to see that this blueprint is really for us.
Leah Jones teaches at Chesapeake Math and IT Elementary South in Upper Marlboro. After working in the 4th and 5th grades for several years, she became the school's math instructional coach. But because of a shortage of teachers in the school, she's not able to fill that position.
Right now, I'm in the 5th grade classroom. I'm not a teacher anymore. I had a lateral move. I moved to being a math instructional coach, where I'm supposed to work with the teachers to improve instruction, and hopefully that will move us towards academic achievement. I think I maybe operated in that position maybe 2 months.
Maryland has been experiencing a teacher shortage that has worsened since the pandemic.
Our teachers have higher class sizes in many places because the blueprint was counting on an additional 10,000 teachers. Well, we're down teachers.
To bring teachers back to Maryland and encourage people to choose the career path, the blueprint promises to raise teachers' minimum salary to $60,000 by 2026. And if teachers achieve national board certification and climb up the blueprint's career ladder, they can increase their salaries by up to $17,000 a year.
We've seen a huge increase in the state of Maryland in the number of teachers who are engaging in the national board certification process. That means that they're certified and they're seeking to engage an additional endorsement of their teaching practice in their content area. That's exciting.
But the key to getting more teachers in the state is making the career more appealing. One of the ways the blueprint is trying to do this is implementing a completely new teacher career ladder at every school and district in the state.
The career ladder is probably the most innovative component of the Pillar 2 goals for schools, and it fundamentally shifts what it means as a profession for teachers to grow and develop without leaving the classroom. Because it says, we're going to offer teachers the opportunity to have autonomy, responsibility within the role of classroom teacher. It's not, I have to move up or out. It's, I can make choices without just becoming a principal or an assistant principal.
The ladder breaks down 4 levels for teachers to advance through in their careers.
First level is that you're a state certified teacher. That's like where the career ladder envisions everybody starts.
The second level has teachers begin a master's program related to what they teach or start the national board certification process. Once they have that certification, they move to level 3 and get an automatic salary increase and can think about becoming a lead teacher at their school. Level 4 teachers can move between schools, districts, and colleges or universities.
Because I don't think there are many teachers who want to be teachers forever. So knowing that you can achieve something outside of simply being in the classroom would be a good thing to see and a good motivation for us.
The last part of Pillar 2 aims to bring more diverse teachers into Maryland schools.
We believe that our teaching body should look like our student body. And we are a majority minority student body here in the state of Maryland, and we don't have many educators of color. And that's important for all students to see other ethnicities, people that can succeed and go into education. But it's a tough path for educators of color. Sometimes they might be the only educator of color in a school. Many of our educators of color say they get passed over for advancement, and so we're working to make sure that they're supported and they're promoted as equally as everybody else.
Education is always a field for the heart. You have to have a passion for children, have a passion to give back. This is something you have to be called to. It's rewarding. So though we have a lot of changes coming and we are looking forward to the financial increase, if our heart's not in it, then everything the Blueprint is doing is for nothing. But for those who are here for the right reasons, those who have the passion, the knowing that the reward is on the way is something that you can look forward to.
And tune in tomorrow as we break down the Blueprint's Pillar 3, diving into college and career readiness. And what is universal life insurance? Don't go away. We have the answer for you up next in our Money Matters segment. Stay tuned.
I'm Christopher Holton. I'm very active. It was a Saturday morning. Normally I go for my normal walk.
With no warning, Chris suffered a near-fatal heart attack. But thankfully, Brian Buckley, a bystander, saw him collapse and rushed to help.
He did this big gasp for air and then just stopped. It's like I went into autopilot. It's like all that training I did back in the day around CPR just magically came out of nowhere.
Because of the CPR training that Brian received, Chris did make it and didn't die on the trail that day. CPR training provided by the American Heart Association.
Looking at your hands, these two hands could save a life.
Being a father, you want to be around. You want to be around for your kids.
Heart disease is America's #1 killer. To learn more about how the American Heart Association helps save lives, go to helpheart.org.
Life insurance is an important part of financial planning, but certain types of life insurance offer more than just death benefits. Back with us is financial advisor Ernest Burley from Burley Insurance and Financial Services. So please tell me, what exactly is universal life insurance?
Well, universal life, also called a UL or IUL, that's a variant of universal life, index universal life, is a very flexible life insurance policy that gives you the opportunity to create a permanent plan of life insurance that you won't outlive. And also you can build a potential cash value in the policies too.
Okay, seems complicated. So let's break it down question by question. So what makes that plan flexible?
Well, it allows you to decide to pay more premium if you want to. Most policies you can't pay more, you pay what the premium is, so you can pay more into the policy. After a certain period of time, you can stop paying the premiums, or you could pay less premiums and the policy will just feed off of that until it expires. So it's very flexible in that regard, regarding the payment and other options too.
Okay, so some plans are written to provide protection for life, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What do they mean by that?
That means you won't outlive the coverage. So you can write it to age 110, 120, 105. So you don't outlive your protection, which that defeats the purpose if you do that. So that's what it means by permanent protection. It's in place for the whole life of the insured person.
Okay, so if that's the case, how could it be possible that some policies could leave someone without insurance later in life?
That's a good question. I come across that all the time. I've addressed it a couple times this week already. So these policies, if they're not written properly, can actually shortchange a person because they have guaranteed columns and they have non-guaranteed columns. And some people get confused with the shiny object of the non-guaranteed columns. But the guaranteed column says exactly how long that company is saying they're going to guarantee that policy will be in place. And some people get focused on the other side and it's not written properly and they end up like shortchanged later on down the line. So it's not good.
So they need to just make sure they're reading the fine print to make sure to see how long they're going to be covered.
Yeah, look at the illustration. So the illustration shows how long that policy is going to be enforced, but no one ever does it. Or they look at the non-guaranteed side. Look at the guaranteed side that shows that's how long the policy will be enforced, not the non-guaranteed side.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
So what do you mean by, the universal life policy gains cash value? How does it do that?
Mainly in two different ways. One, they have a guaranteed column, right, that has a fixed rate, 2 or 3% or what have you, that it says we guarantee we'll put this amount of cash or give you this interest credit to the policy. And then they have non-guaranteed columns that are normally linked to some index, like a large cap index, a tech index, a small cap index. It's not guaranteed, but if those perform well, then you'll have a bigger cash value. But you don't want to focus on that side. Focus on the guarantee, not the non-guarantee.
Okay. Okay, we're really drilling it in.
Yes.
Guarantee.
Yes, yes.
So when I'm looking for a universal life policy, what are some things that I should be looking for in that guarantee column?
Well, you want to look at, okay, what do you want the policy to do for you? If you have a budget, look at your budget. And how long do you want the policy to be enforced? Those are like some key things you want to take a look at when looking at these type of policies.
Okay. And what kind of person is a good candidate for universal life policies?
Well, a person who wants a permanent life insurance policy where the premium is not going to change, it's going to stay the same indefinitely throughout the policy period. A person that's not concerned with cash value, and also a person who wants the least costly option to get a permanent life insurance policy. That's like the key thing. Stable premium with a low cost, not changing over time, no cash value, and they want like the lowest premium possible. Yep.
But doesn't term life have the lowest premium? So why shouldn't we be doing term life policies?
Another good question. So, but term is eventually going to leave you without coverage later on in life. So if you want permanent life insurance, if you want term is not the way to go.
Okay. So, but what are some cases where somebody might not want whole life insurance and they would want to go with a different type of policy?
Right. If you want permanent life insurance, whole life is an option, but it normally costs a little bit more. So the reason it costs more is because it has a bigger cash value feature in it. So if you're cost conscious, then you get the index universal life or guaranteed universal life policy. But if you're like, okay, 20, 30, 40 bucks a month more for a bigger cash value is not a big deal, then whole life is the option. So it's different strokes for different folks. Do what best suits you.
Okay, I'll definitely keep all that advice in mind. Thank you very much. So individuals should always contact their own financial professional and attorneys to help answer questions about specific situations or needs before taking any action based on this information. And after the break, I'll be bringing you our Tuesday sports page. We'll be back in a moment.
They say there are no excuses. They say to just push harder.
They say to just go faster.
But when we're on the field, they don't know what's going on inside us.
How hard is too hard?
When do we get support?
When do we raise our hand and ask for help? We need each other.
Love, you're mine.
So I'll be attempting to bring you Tuesday's sports page today since sports reporter Simon Buggs is out today. It's his birthday, so happy birthday, Simon. So our first story, the Washington Commanders have a talented rookie class that are all looking to make an impact and help this team get back to the postseason. One player in particular that is looking to help this team in any way he can is wide receiver Luke McCaffrey. McCaffrey was selected by Washington in the third round of the draft last month. He was previously a quarterback before making the transition to wide receiver. And the Rice University product believes his quarterback background can help him establish a nice connection with rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels.
It helps a lot. I think it's a position that's hard to understand unless you've played it. But, I think I was lucky. The biggest thing I've noticed is the communication aspect, is you speak the same language, you understand that. And that's something going into rookie minicamp you try and get a head start on because it's a brand new language, it's a brand new system. You're running the same plays, but maybe the reads are a little bit different than what I've been used to in college. And so kind of just to get a head start on that in rookie camp and then hopefully build throughout the summer and then build in training camp, get ready for the season and just, put your best ball out there so that you can compete.
And the Commanders began their OTA workouts today, and they'll last until June 7th. And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you tune in to CTV News tonight at 9:30 for our special primary election coverage. I'm Mariah Jalad. Have a good night.